Hello YouTubers, this is Gold Standard 924 coming at you with another video. Just wanted to say to you guys, have a happy Thanksgiving. Hope you spent your time cramming in all that Thanksgiving meal that you had, with your turkeys, your biscuits, your mashed potatoes, your stuffings, whatever meals that you ate during the Thanksgiving holidays, and also had the opportunity to spend time with your families and relatives and being thankful for all the contributions that they've had and how much influence they had to your life. And so I hope that that was worth the holidays, worth the day offs, especially for some of you, any of you viewers that are probably still attending school. It can be pretty stressful, but with the holidays like Thanksgiving, that really try to ease out all the, like I said, all the stress and basically the issues that you've been going through in your lives, and um, basically really try to make the best of it. I mean, life ain't easy, and we try to make the best of it, and and it also goes to adults as well. And I just hope that you guys had a really good Thanksgiving, and that's really all I have to say about that. But that's just kind of like my first warm up there. So this video is just basically going to be me just basically redoing a Power Rangers Megaforce related review. I know I posted one like about a few days ago, and not only it wasn't really getting a lot of attention, and plus, by rewatching that video, I really kind of feel a little too bittersweet over some of the comments that I made. I'm not sure if any of you viewers took the time to watch it before I took it down, but it was just basically me just rambling and ranting, raving about how disappointed I was regarding the Power Rangers Super Megaforce finale. I really still hold on to that opinion that is just one of the most disappointing, underwhelming seasons that I've ever watched. And, granted, everyone is entitled to their own opinion, and I respect that. But it's, by watching each episode from that particular season, it's just very, very frustrating to watch. And I've never really watched Go Kaiger. I mean, I've heard some really good things about it, but even whether or not I've watched the Super Sentai counterpart to it, even watching some of those Megaforce episodes, it's like everything's just going too fast. Especially the pacing of the story and the episodes, and the unknown Ranger suits that have somehow popped out of nowhere. I mean, especially ones that have never been Power Rangers throughout its 20-year history, and bringing all these the pre-Zoo Ranger suits, like the Go Ranger, um, the Jetmans, those sort of Super Sentai seasons that came before the season that MMPR ended up adapting and turning into the Power Rangers global phenomenon that we all grew to love. And I really feel like many people in the general fandom that that Megaforce did a disservice to the Power Rangers franchise. And it's just, like I said, it's just very difficult to watch these episodes. Very frustrating. But Legendary Battle. I mean, when it comes to a lot of negativity behind it, there's always going to be some positives to counteract it. So it wasn't all that bad as I make it out to be. I really do like some of the music score to that Legendary Battle scene where like you saw all these past Power Rangers lining up and walking up towards the Megaforce Rangers, and you saw like a handful of Power Rangers taking off their helmets, and seeing some of the old faces again. I really like that music score, so that's one thing I'll at least compliment them with that. And as well as seeing some of the old favorite faces, like I said. But other than that, it's just it just leaves so much more to be desired. And even some of the Retro Rangers should have gotten more screen time and should have played a significant role like they did with like past team ups like Forever Red, Once a Ranger. Those sort of team ups where you feel like you have all these past Rangers interacting with some of the current Rangers, like feeling like they're both on the same playing field. And with what we saw in the Megaforce season finale, it was nothing like what I mentioned about some of the past team up episodes. And it's just really a shame, and around that time when I made that video, this was like before the extended cut was aired on the Nickelodeon sister station Nicktoons. And I happened to actually have Nicktoons, so I got the opportunity to watch the extended edition in its 1.5 hour special that they aired like a little before midnight. And it was a little tall. It made the season finale a little bit tolerable. I know like Legendary Battle when it aired on Nickelodeon had to be cut short. There was a lot of scenes that didn't make it into the initial airing. Like there was like a scene where if you all remember, like Orion and Troy ended up defeating Emperor Mavro, who was like the general boss of the Armada towards the end of the episodes. Eventually, they destroy him along with the ship, and you never really saw him again. But in the extended cut, however, Emperor Mavro did in fact survive the blast, and it led to this extended battle where we see all the Megaforce Rangers facing off against Emperor Mavro, and you also even saw the Rangers being helmetless and shouting out their Ranger calls and stuff like that. So that was also a notable added thing that didn't make it into the Nickelodeon version. There was also just some more fight scenes overall. We got to see some of the actual Power Rangers suits like Jungle Fury, Mystic Force, and all those actual Power Ranger suits that were used during the Emperor Mavro battle, like when they were like after the explosion. What other versions that they had? The Legendary War, the whole battle with the leftover X-Borgs facing off the actual Retro Rangers and the Megaforce Rangers as well. So there wasn't really a lot that was added or changed upon that. But it's just more scenes where they actually clip on their helmets again, and Corone, who we all thought that she had no dialogue at all. In fact, Corone actually says something about how it was great to be a Power Ranger, and then they like flash to Astronema, who was like she was like the main villain of Power Rangers in space. So that was a pretty cool moment, but even the Retro Rangers didn't really have much work to do, even so. So I mean, there wasn't really much that changed in the extended cut. Just made it a tad bit more tolerable, and Emperor Mavro's death wasn't all a waste. It wasn't like, oh, we slash you with a weapon, you're dead. It wasn't that sort of thing, but they actually really had a hard fought victory against Emperor Mavro in the extended version. So I'll at least commend them to that, but unfortunately there was no epilogue with the Megaforce Rangers and what happened to them after the battle and what their fate was, whether or not they keep their powers or I mean there was anything along those lines, and Gosei and Tensu didn't really say anything either or have like their goodbye speech. So that was very disappointing. I just really feel like it's just left so much more to be desired. So, overall, Power Rangers Megaforce, not just Super Megaforce, but just Megaforce, with last year and this year so far. Um, just one of the worst Power Ranger seasons I've ever watched. Some people may argue, Overdrive and Wild Force and those sort of seasons, but I never really thought all those seasons were like so terrible to the point where you just want to smack your TV all the time. But I mean, yeah, they've had their faults. Overdrive, with the Power Rangers that season, coming off as a bunch of jerks that weren't really passionate to be Power Rangers at all. Wild Force Rangers, people criticize for their acting and just some of the contrived storylines, like that whole kite story arc with that whole pollution thing. Um, but even those seasons at least tried to maintain a consistent, story, and it just has a reason for the Power Rangers, giving them a reason to understand what they're fighting for. But with Megaforce, I mean, I don't know. I can't really remember anything that the Power Rangers had to be motivated for besides protecting the Earth. I mean, and the villains in that season weren't really that memorable. Some of them got killed way too easily. Even the general in the first half of Megaforce, like what was that guy's name? Like General Amaker, who was like the boss of the warship Empire, and he had like one of those insectoids as like the initial. Wait, no. That was the Loogies. Those were the the Loogies? But and I think it was Loogies. Yeah, Loogies were the foot soldiers of the first half of Megaforce, and the insectoids were kind of like one of those servants that served for General Amaker. But he even gets killed off like episodes way before the season finale, so it was kind of hard to really buy him as a legit threat. Yeah, I mean, if anything, it almost made it seem like Rack was one of the Power Rangers' most fiercest villains, so they might as well have made him like the main, like the main boss, like a Rita or a Zed, that sort of level of like the main villain of that particular Power Ranger season. But Rack was kind of like one of those um, come and go villain that's out there, kind of like a Goldar sort of thing. Especially with him and Troy and that whole dynamic and the whole rivalry. But yeah, other than that, the villains, like I said, just weren't that memorable. Um, let's see. I mean, just exactly what I'm thinking. I'm just so speechless at the moment. I don't even know how to elaborate here. But the Power Rangers, there was, ever since the course of the series, we don't really know too much of them. Some of them pretty much maintain the same personality they had in the first episode, Mega Mission. Troy, being that solitary loner that moving in town to town, and we didn't really know much of him. I mean, he was just his acting wasn't all that spectacular. He just felt very generic and monotone, and just didn't really have a lot of enthusiasm, to be honest. But I didn't really buy him as their version of Jason. I mean, they had that whole thing where he starts keeping having these dreams about the Legendary War, but that didn't really explore as much. And the only time they brought it up was like the last episode where he said, "Oh my God, I was dreaming about this." When he saw all those past Power Rangers marching in to help the Megaforce Rangers, and I was like, "Come on, man." I mean, if I was like one of those Power Rangers, if I was like one of his teammates, I would have been pissed off because he was like keeping the secret, and you would think that he would have at least told the Rangers at some point about why he was having all these visions about being with the legendary Rangers and stuff like that. I mean, he could have at least told Gosei about it. I mean, they could have worked something out like a Coulson and Agent Coulson and Sky from Agents of Shield, where they're always like discussing about some things, and um, if you have something that you're not telling us, let me know. Um, they have that sort of bond. I think it could have been, with Gosei and Troy, it could have been something along the similar dynamics of what Coulson and Sky were, and so far in the second season of Shield. But they never really followed up on that whole Troy and his visions of why he's getting what his dream, and why he's noticing all these past Power Rangers teaming up and fighting and stuff. It's like, why is it coming back to him? Let's see. Noah, he had a pretty decent character development, but I think the execution of it felt very awkward. I could see where they were going with, having him being like this sort of know-it-all prodigy, and just wishing that he could be just as physique as his best friend Jake is. And then they did that episode where Jake was just saying, like, if you keep believing yourself, you can do anything. And they kind of played it up a little bit, but when you get to like Super Megaforce and that whole episode Blue Saber Saga, it just, I don't know, it just seemed like just so weird just seeing him. Oh well, I'm this nerd. I know this. I know that. And then you go to like Super Megaforce, and all of a sudden he's talking like he's an honorable swords master. Like I just think they could have built it up a little better than they did. I could see where they were going for on paper. Just a guy that just had a lack of self-confidence and really trying to work his way up and really show that he can be a independent guy. But because I believe like his Sentai character, I mean, to be honest, I haven't watched the Super Sentai one, so but I think they could have handled Noah's character a little better than what they did. Emma, she was kind of like the goody two shoes. I mean, I can't really, really, shows her caring for the nature and the environment, and she loves BMX racing. But I mean, these are just more like traits. They are like legit things that you really need to know and why they appreciate for what they do best. But I don't know. I mean, she helped that one kid with the kite, and rather than helping with the Power Rangers, so it kind of makes her look like a doofus, if you want to put it in that sort of context. I didn't really care for any of the Rangers, especially Emma. Gia, can't really remember anything that she's done. I don't think she even got a single focus episode. I mean, unlike guys like Noah and Emma and Robo Knight, but I mean, every time there's like all those episodes I've been watching since Megaforce, it's always about fucking action. It's like fight, 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 fight. There's like no plot, just fight, 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 fight. And with past Power Ranger seasons, you always seem to have like a episode devoted to a specific character, and most of the time they're going through issues and trying to overcome them while maintaining their duties to protect the Earth. And I mean, I know there was like maybe an episode with Noah, dealing with his self-esteem issues about wanting to get stronger, and just really trying to defend himself and try to be someone that he could look up to, with Jake. But other than that, I just can't really think of anything else, really. Not at the top of my head. um, no, nothing really. And Robo Knight at least had something, and it's just I just don't like the characterization here in Megaforce. It's just not, it's just one of those least developed shows. And then you get to like Super Megaforce. It's just um, they tried to get some of the past Rangers to come back, but they weren't able to come back because of some of their personal reasons. Um, so the moment that you heard a lot of past Power Rangers rejecting this offer, um, it was likely the bomb from the start, to be honest. And yeah, I can understand why some of these past Power Ranger actors just weren't able to accept the offer, go into New Zealand, and show up, in a particular Power Rangers Megaforce episode. There just wasn't, not only there wasn't either enough pay, or some of the roles in the show weren't that significant, so they weren't comfortable with that. At least some of them. Um, yeah, like I remember like the Karen Ashley mentioned this. Just it was just very shocking. It's very I guess you could really tell that that this was going to be a flop, and you watch the actual episode that just aired a few days ago, and it just speaks for itself. Um, I don't know, man. I mean, this kids franchise has been around for 20 years, and you see all these constant bickering and the fight scenes, which are just so annoying. I mean, they did this with Samurai. Megaforce, it was no different, and they just still haven't let go of that whole formula. It's like they're always fighting, and the Power Rangers are like saying all this nonsense, which just takes away that moment, that suspense. It's just mind-boggling, really. Um, I don't know, really. So, overall, Power Rangers Megaforce is just a pretty disappointing season. There's so many opportunities that could have been explored, but we never got to see. Um, I mean, we could have seen maybe an episode where, like Tommy trains with Troy, or at least interacts with him a little more, and maybe could teach him a lesson or two about the time to let go of your weapons, and all this philosophy, all this nonsense that Troy's been making up. So yeah, maybe we could see more of that. Maybe a little more interaction with the past Rangers. Maybe Troy maybe could maybe explore more about his martial arts background and why he got into the sport. Um, Maybe Gia's reason for being Miss Perfect. Why is she being like this know-it-all genius that she claims to be, and um, maybe she has a reason to strive to be as outstanding as she possibly can. Um, Stuff like that. And just so many opportunities that just went to waste, and unfortunately, there's really nothing we can do about it because we can't change the past, which is kind of a sad fact. But overall, that's really my thoughts on the Power Rangers Megaforce review. I guess you could say it's a little bit of a mix between the season finale review and just Megaforce in general. Just my overall thoughts on the season. I don't think it improved from the first half. I think it's just gotten worse. So yeah, so that's really all my thoughts. I hope you really I hope you stuck around for this. I mean, I know there were like times where I kept repeating myself, but that's, sometimes there's just so much information you have in your mind that you just can't stop talking, and then all of a sudden you lose your train of thought. Um, but yeah, that's really my thoughts on Power Rangers Megaforce. So thank you all guys for watching. Happy Thanksgiving, and until next time, this is Gold Standard 0924 signing out.